You ever wonder where a ideal customer lands on your store but they never buy? Well, I can tell you it's not your product and it's not that they're not interested, but it's basically the way that you're targeting them. And I just took a client's listicle pre-lender from 2% to nearly 4% conversion rate by fixing this just one simple thing. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did using a framework I built, and it's called basically the buyer filter, and is the same one that I've used to build like over 40 customer avatars for 6 to 8 figure brands. When I ask most brands like who's your ICP, like when you are writing an ad or like a pre-lender, like who is the person that you have in your mind, like that you want them to see, like what do you want them, to feel when reading this, like what specifically is, what piece of copy, what piece of element, like whatever it is, what is supposed to make them click. And most people of course just give me like a customer avatar that, like, on paper, let's say it sounds okay, but it's basically like so generic that you can't sell to it. And honestly, this is like the main issue that I see with brands when I start working with them. Like one of the first things that I tell them instantly when we start working is like, okay, I will jump in, I will do like deep customer and avatar research, and only then I'm going to build you an avatar that you can actually like use across all of your marketing, the ads, the product details pages, like on email marketing, like everywhere. And most of the time I hear the exact same thing: we already have that, right? And they show me like this. It's most of the time like a Google document, and it's always something like this. So his name is Josh. He's 35 to 55 years old. He loves cars. He lives in Florida. He makes about 200,000 a year. He's married. He has one, maybe two kids. And I always tell them, like, here's the problem with this, like, you can't market to this person, and it's not because like this thing is built wrong, but it's because like it doesn't tell you anything that is going to actually like change your messaging about how you are going to market to this person. Like let's say that you sell auto parts, right? And you're saying like, okay, he loves cars, but if we just said like, oh, you already knew that, right? You already knew that he loves cars, because otherwise he wouldn't even be in the market. He is 35 to 55 years old. Okay, maybe this is going to affect like the creative style or like the platform you market on, maybe Facebook versus TikTok versus Instagram or whatever, but it's still super surface level. He makes 200,000 per year, right? This might influence like maybe the pricing or like the financing options, but it still doesn't tell you why does this guy buy. He is married with one kid, right? Okay, so is he buying, is he in the auto parts like market to be this cool dad? Is it like to escape the stress from work? Is it to compete with friends? Is it maybe he's rebuilding a car for his kids? So all of these things are super different, and these are the things that are actually going to tell you what you need to write in your ads and in your pre-lenders. Because if you don't know like who the real driver is, you're going to end up like guessing, you're going to end up targeting basically the whole world, and this is why you're going to get curiosity clicks only, not people who are actually like interested in buying. And with this, you're probably seeing things like low CPMs, maybe even like decent CPCs, but when you look at the purchase rate and like the return on ad spend, like it is bad, because you are not attracting like buyers. You're only attracting people that thought the ad, okay, the ad was interesting, but they were not interested in actually like finishing the purchase, right? There was not enough interest here. And that's what a generic avatar creates. Like it creates curiosity clicks instead of intent. So how do you actually like attract people that aren't just interested enough to click, but they're actually interested enough to buy and just give you their money? And I'm going to explain to you that right now, because of course you can get like this and ad metrics, you can get clicks, but what you actually want are the right people, right? You want the ones that actually are going to land on your store, and they are going to have like this high buying intent, they're going to have a high buying temperature, and they're going to read the page and they're going to be like, okay, yes, this was built like specifically for me. That's when your marketing actually like starts getting you money, because the customers starts basically selling themselves on the products because how well your page was actually made. So with my earlier examples, I was talking about demographics, like what is their age, their income, their location, like all of those things. And this is exactly why most brands end up marketing to this like very broad audience, right? Because demographics usually like only fill the top of the funnel. And this is a huge bucket, right? Like tons of people see the ad, a bunch of them click, but most aren't motivated enough to move through the funnel and to actually purchase from you. Okay, well, let me show you what I actually mean, right? So this is what I call the buyer filter, and basically it has two layers. The first layer is demographics, like things that you mentioned before, age, income, their location, and all of those things. And this is basically the whole bucket. It pours people into the funnel, right? But layer two is psychographics, and this is what the person values. This is what they fear. This is what they believe, who they blame for a failed outcome, all of those things. And this is basically the filter between the two layers, right? It filters people out on purpose so that only the right people are going to land and are going to reach the bottom part of the funnel. And yes, maybe like you are going to get like a few visitors from this at the bottom, but they will be so much more qualified, and that is how you're actually like going to get sales without needing more traffic. Now let's compare like the previous example that I said using psychographics, right? And you can tell me which one you think is like easier to sell to. So for the psychographics version, we can say that this guy actually like watches races, right? Maybe he has even tried racing himself, or maybe he's more like of a casual driver, right? But he actually wants a car that actually looks different and is going to get attention on the road. Pretty like different two things, right? Maybe this guy is into hip hop and he likes trends. So then like your creative style and your music and your pacing in the ads, like all of that is going to change, and it basically needs to match that vibe. Do you see how the marketing here is basically like going to change like fully, right? And let me show you like what the actual changes on the page are going to look like. Okay, so this one, for example, would be like a very generic one, right? So it's a pre-lender and people are landing here, and this basically like targets like every car lover in the world, right? And it is not going to make me think like, okay, this was built specifically for me, right? This was built for every single person that loves cars. But now, if I look at this one, top 5 easiest mods to make your car stand out on the road. I know that this is for people that actually want to make their car stand out on the road. It's not for example, just simple daily drivers. It's not for people that just care to get from point A to point B without any problem. And this is for people that actually want to show off on the road. And this is and if I was someone that wanted to do that, if I was someone that was looking for ways to make my car more interesting, more attention grabbing, this would be it, right? Again, this was written in like 1 minute, like it's not a good example, but just shows you how this is actually going to filter people who are actually interested in buying the product, instead of just showing like curiosity clicks and just like getting people to scroll maybe through, or they're not even going to scroll through, they're just going to leave because this is not specific enough for them. And as I said, like that is the difference. Again, I know it's not the best example, but you get the point, right? So demographics are like top of the funnel and they just get interest, they get people interested in your ad, but the psychographics are like the middle of the funnel filtering, that are going to like filter through all of these people and only get those that actually would buy from you, right? So you're basically like just setting the criteria so that only the right customer is going to land on the page and is going to think that this is for me. And once that happens, the conversions get so much easier because, like as I said before, they start selling themselves on their product. So okay, yes, use demographics, get out of this like big bucket of people, but also use psychographics to actually filter the right people to the next layer and to make these people buy. So I used exactly this to actually help a client scale their funnel, right? So their listicle was converting at like 1.5, maybe 2% on some good days. But what we did is we got in and we ran this post-purchase survey where we just asked like a bunch of questions. We did a round of rated research. We rewrote the headline after that with our findings and the top three points in the listicle, right? And what happened was that the conversion rate of the store like jumped from like 1.5 to 2% to around 3 to 4% between, and that's roughly doubling in conversion rate. And the research that I'm about to show you is basically how I unlocked this and how I actually understood like what I need to put on the page. And I'm going to show you basically like where exactly I found this information and what I use with every client that I work with. Because you're probably wondering right now, like, how do you know what the person actually values, right? How do you know what they're scared of, what they believe, who they blame or what they blame, whatever? And this is where customer or avatar research actually comes into play. And for this, you can use a few things. So first of all, Reddit, which honestly, this is just a gold mine, and I recommend that you start with this. So you're basically like watching people have a conversation between each other, and it's like they're having like a normal conversation, but this conversation is about the specific product that you're selling, right? So here you're going to hear stuff like what are their biggest desires, what they believe to be true or false. This is very important. Who or what do they blame for what's going on currently in their life or in the market, or what their fears are, and all of those things. So you are just going to jump into this like relevant subreddits. You're going to read the posts, you're going to read the comments, and just copy the best lines straight into a Google document. Then number two is going to be your ad comments, and you're going to only be able to do this like when you have actually like bigger ads that have scaled a bit, and only then like people are going to start commenting. They will have like conversations there, and they're going to start asking questions, writing their thoughts about the product, about the market, writing some objections or whatever. And one client of mine basically figured out that people actually like hated one of the ingredients that he had in his product, right? So there was a specific ingredient, and they were like, okay, I would have bought it if this ingredient wasn't there. So what my client did is he just like replaced the ingredient, right? He wouldn't have figured this out otherwise if he didn't look specifically like in the Facebook comments, right? Because where else would he have seen that people specifically hated this one product about his product, right? Number two is going to be reviews. You can use yours and your competitors, and these things are basically going to tell you like what the customer actually is using the product for, right? What almost stopped them from buying, what actually finally made them buy, what pushed them over the fence, what results are they actually noticing, and what results are they valuing the most, which all of these things are very important. Then number four, we have customer service and post-purchase service. And honestly, these two are the most like underutilized methods in CRO. Like most brands either don't run them at all, or they do run them and they ask like this very like not good questions. This question like are basically useless. They are not giving you any good answer. So what you're actually like trying to get from a post-purchase survey is basically four things. So what almost stopped the person from buying, what pushed them over the edge, what outcome are they actually like, what's the best outcome that they want, and what are they actually like paying money to get from your product, and then what were they actually like thinking about the product, what was the conversation in their head that they actually had like before finding your page and your specific product, right? So I basically have like this specific 5-question framework I use with clients, and we find like very good information with that. And like all of this information can happen just from one survey, but even just knowing like the things that I just told you, like those 4 questions, that is going to get you like so much information, and you're going to have like such specific things that you're going to be able to put in your ads, in your listicles, whatever, right? Because most brand owners here like just run a post-purchase survey, and they're like, how was your experience, right? Or maybe like, where did you hear about us? But what does that actually tell you, right? Like the answers here are basically useless. And that's the buyer filter, right? So layer 1 is the demographics, which is going to get you your bucket filled up, and layer 2 is going to be the psychographics, which is actually going to like filter only the buyers. I know I talked a lot about like how to build pre-landers here, so if you want to learn like how to build a very good product details page and what you need to know, there's a video on the screen right now. But other than that, thank you for watching and have a great rest of your day.